Hello and thank you for watching this tutorial. Today I'm going to walk you through developing a very simple application using RStudio. RStudio is an integrated development environment which uses R codes, and you can use this R to develop different applications. So let me go ahead and pull up the RStudio. Here's how it looks like. As you can see, you can find a console which you can write your R codes in it. Like, if you are familiar with R, you can see that this is an R code. I just generated a vector from 1 to 4 and spit it out. Alright, in order to develop a simple web application such as this one, which I'm really going to develop this application today. So you can see, you can define your distribution type like exponential, the sample size, the R codes behind this interactive HTML view generates 5200 sample size and show the histogram, something like that. Alright, let's go ahead and start developing that web application. For this purpose, in order to have an HTML view, we need to install the Shiny package onto our RStudio environment. To do that, you should go to Package and click on Install, and then just type Shiny here, over here. And by clicking on Install, you would install the Shiny package. I already have it here. You can find it here. This is my I have my Shiny package already installed on my RStudio. So in order to have that web application, we will need two R scripts. So let me just generate two R scripts. The first one would be, let me go and write first Shiny app. The first one would be UI.R. I should save it as under the name of UI, where my user interface codes will go ahead, will be written. The second would be called server.R, where our computation and statistical analysis codes will go. In order to get the user interface, I will need to let the program know that these are my UI, my Shiny UI codes, and here my Shiny server codes will be compiled. Okay, this type of application, which has a header, a sidebar, and also a main panel, is called page with sidebar. And this is called header, sidebar, and main. Alright, let's go and start writing our codes. First, we should let the RStudio that we will have a page with sidebar panel, and inside this page with sidebar we will have a header panel, and we'll write the text which goes into a header panel. So my first Shiny app. In addition to header panel, we will have sidebar panel. For now, just let me write sidebar. And also a main panel. Sorry. Main panel. Please just note that this P's in header panel, sidebar panel, and main panel should be capital, because RStudio is kind of sensitive to capital letters. Okay, now let's go ahead and start our compile our program. In order to do that, we first need to load this Shiny package. By default, the Shiny package is not loaded. In order to load that, you just need to type library Shiny. You can see that it is now checked. And then you need to go ahead and set your working directory. Let me go to the path that my packages UI and server are. Copy this package, set WD, and paste it over here. Now I have my working directory set to that path, and then type run app. Okay, this is the HTML view. I have my header panel, which is said my first Shiny app. Then this is the sidebar panel and main panel. It is kind of close and similar to this page. So we'll go ahead and write these, generate this select input and sidebar slider input. Okay, so as I said, inside sidebar panel we will have a select input. Those drop boxes are called select input in R. The name of this select input would be distribution, and the text that I want to show to the user is like, please, I want to ask him to select distribution type. Okay, you can click and enter and go to the second line whenever and wherever you want on Rstudio. It is not sensitive to it can compile multilinear simultaneously. Okay, and the choices. I want my choices be normal and exponential. There we are. In addition to select input, we will have a slider input. The name of that slider would be like sample size. The text select, let me be, please select, oops, sorry, select my, not my, please select sample size. So the mean, I want the mean sample size be 100, max be 5000, the value, the default value be 1000, and the step be 100. So I want the mean 100, the sample size goes from 100 to 5000 by the steps of 100. Okay, let's go ahead and let's refresh this page. Alright, now we have this select input with normal and exponential, and this is the sidebar slider panel. The default value is 1000. It goes from 100 to 5000, and it goes by the steps of 100. Okay, if you go back to the our ready product, you can see normal distribution will have 2 parameters and exponential has just 1 parameter. So we want the program to give 2 options for normal distribution and 1 option to exponential. We can handle it using conditional panels, and I'll show you how we can do that. Okay, in the sidebar panel, in addition to select input and slider input, I will have a conditional panel. In the conditional panel, I think if you write conditional here, the help, conditional panel, you can find out how to write it. In conditional panel, first condition goes and then the rest of that. So my condition wants, I want my condition to be input. So this is the input. If I want the input dot distribution, if my input dot distribution is normal, I want to have a text input or text box, text inputs. The name of the text input would be the mean. The text, please select the mean. And the value I want to be its default value, or let's say its default value I want to be 10. So this is my first text input. I want another text input for the standard deviation. Okay, let me call it st. Please select standard deviation. And that's it. This is my conditional panel. And the second conditional panel is for the condition where input dot distribution is equal to exponential. So if this condition is true, I want a text input name, like let's call it lambda, and I want the text box to be please select exponential lambda, and the default value I want to be 1. Okay, let's go and refresh our page. Now we have our normal distribution. But it is not working correctly. I found out where the problem is. You can see we have a single quotation here, but we didn't close it over here. I'll close it here and here, and go ahead and refresh the page. There we are. Now when the user selects normal, we only have mean and standard deviation, and when he selects exponential, just the exponential lambda is selected, is shown. Okay, I want this default standard deviation to be 3. Okay, we have all the elements ready for the sidebar panel. It is now time to fix the main panel. Let me just go ahead and delete the text over here. In the main panel we want a plot output, and I will call the plot output my plot. Okay, now let's go to the server.r and write the R functions which are going to generate the histogram. Okay, under Shiny server we will have a function with input and output and the session. Okay, and inside this function we want our output $ my plot to render a plot, and we have some codes to render these plots. First, let's get our distribution type. I would say the distribution type. The distribution type is the distribution which was entered from user interface, and it is defined by distribution. So input at $, distribution we'll hand the distribution type to this type, and the size, the sample size, would be input $sign sample size. Okay, so we get the distribution type and sample size. So we said if the distribution type, this type, is equal to the text normal, we want the random vector, we initialize the random vector and we'll generate random numbers. rnorm is the code which is used. If you go to help and type rnorm, you'll see that rnorm is the code in R that generates random normals. So we will have rnorm, which generates random number out of normal distribution. N is the sample size, so we have it over here, size. We want size amount of random numbers. The mean is input $mean. Let me change this m to little m rather than capital M. Okay, the mean is going to be input $mean, but the mean, the select input, just gets the text file, so we need to cast this text into numerical value, and in the R as that numeric, it takes care of this casting. So the mean is going to be the numerical format of input $mean, and the standard deviation is going to be, I'm just following this rule over here, SD is going to be as that numeric of the standard deviation defined and entered by the user. I called it as SD. Okay, so if the distribution type is normal, the random vector will include the normal values. Else, which is essentially if the distribution type is exponential, our random vector is going to be REXP. REXP generates random number out of exponential distribution. So n and rate would be the values required for this function. So I want the n to be size, and the rate is just 1 over the numerical as that numeric, sorry again, as that numeric, the lambda inputted by the user. So either our distribution type is normal or exponential, we will have the random vector including the random numbers. So the last step is just the histogram. The hist function in R generates the histograms. So I just need to pass the random vector. You can change like the color. I want the color to be blue. Alright, let's go and refresh our, let's go and just run the app. So it says invalid number of breaks. Oh, sorry. As you can see, we do not have the standard deviation over here. For exponential, it is correct. So I had a problem. Yes, there it is. I want standard deviation to be 3, and I needed to put it inside the text input. Okay. Let me go ahead and run the app again. Now we have normal. You can change it to 100, and as you can see, the the normal distribution is around 100. You can change the standard deviation to see how it looks like if you increase the sample size, and if you change the distribution to exponential. So this was our first Shiny app, and I hope you enjoyed it. And